Good morning. Thanks for being here for our second keynote speech on our topic, diversity at risk, following Ben Chalice's triumphs yesterday. Our speaker today is the most successful independent publisher in Italy, a territory to which I think I can safely say he brought some much needed integrity. It was a difficult territory to work. Claudio became a very trusted man in the business. Many people felt safe working with him, which is why he's built up the reputation he has. Also, he's not afraid to speak his mind. Also, he's quite a good comedian. ILMC, he's made himself very much part of he's one of the major characters there, and you're never quite sure what he's going to do or say, but thank God he's there. That's about it. Also, he's one of the few people in the business for a long time that I've had genuine chats about music with. He's a music fan, and he likes things I like Zappa and Beef Art and whatever. So he knows his stuff. But one of the main things about introducing him today is it's his birthday. And he's 55 years young today, and long may he continue. But before you actually give us your wisdom, Claudio, there's a little present here, inelegantly wrapped, but heartfelt, I'm sure, from all at Reeperbahn or whatever.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Wow. Not bad.
Now, not bad. Now I'm told this is the shirt. This is the shirt of.
Barley.
But apparently there's a lot of integrity in this shirt as well, in as much as that club operates and whatever. Like, I've been told all this stuff. I know bugger all, but there you go. Anyway, all right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome Mr. Claudio Trotta.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Okay, let me put the glass on. Thanks for inviting me to the... Oh, it's broken. Very good. We start very well, very good. To this important... The funny thing is that I broke also the other glass 5 minutes ago. It's typical. Anyway, to this important conference, which is also so rich in its contents and potentiality. And thank also for choosing me for this keynote speech. I guess this choice might be due to my proverbial attitude to say what I think at all cost, with no limits of fear of any kind, which sometimes turns into troubles. It happened. But seriously, I believe the choice has to do with my professional story, which has been based for almost 35 years on my work in the music business, and which has expanded in recent years in other fields of entertainment business. Maybe some undertakings have not been immediately successful, commercially speaking, but I have always carried on with passion, courage, boldness, and a keen vision of the future. For example, in the 80s, I spotted the heavy metal music. No one was giving a shit about heavy metal in that days in Italy. Potential, and I imported the Monsters of Rock festival. Later in the 90s, I dreamed of setting up a big festival like Glastonbury, Reading, Rock am Ring, Southside, etc., etc. Southside was not existing at that time, to be honest, I think. And maybe in a period when Italy was not ready for it, I created Sonoria. First year was 33 acts on one stage, second year 54 acts in 2 stages, and 45, third year 55 acts in 3 years. I nearly fall down for that. And I still put myself on the line and take risks to turn my visions into reality. On Barley Arts roster, Barley Arts is my company, there is always room for shows which are so different from one to the another. And AC/DC and Chris Christopherson, Bruce Springsteen and LMFAO, the musical We Will Rock You by Queen, and family shows like Walking with Dino. A music festival like 10 giorni suonati, that it means 10 days played, a sort of boutique event that I do in a castle near Milano, in Vigevano, in a beautiful medieval castle, created by us based on the quality and on the sustainability, as well as international exhibition of entertainment and Italian rap and indie rock gigs, and so on. That's because I always thought that diversity enriched human beings. Moreover, as Freddie Mercury would say, whatever you do it with style. That's a good point too. The subject of the speech I've been asked to deliver is actually one of the views I hold so dear. The standardization, the globalization, the consolidation of few big players in the world of music and entertainment, and in the media and communication one, the big brothers. This is something that has been colliding for many years on a daily basis with people like me who love the old role of the entrepreneur, who is only armed by the awareness of the idealistic folly, thinking he can do something which is useful not only to himself, to his own company, to his employee and their family, but also to the society he lives in and to the historic period where he belongs. And in order to make you understanding my thoughts more clearly, I'd like you to hear two quotes from Luigi Einaudi, born in 1874 and dead in 1961. He was an economist, a journalist, a politician, and a second president of the Italian Republic.
The plant of competition doesn't come on its own, and it doesn't grow by itself. It is not an ancient tree that cannot be shaken by the raging storm. It is a delicate shrub that must be protected with care from the diseases of selfishness and of particular greedy interests, and which must carefully be supported against the dangers that threaten it from any side within the economic sphere. Thousands, millions of people work, produce, and save, no matter what we can invent to border them, to obstruct and discourage them. It is their natural bent that drives them, not just for profit reasons. The pleasure, the pride of seeing your company flourish, gain credit, be an inspiration, and be trusted by an ever wider clientele, expand its facilities, are a mainspring for progress, which is as powerful as the pure profit itself. If it wasn't so, it would be hard to explain why there are entrepreneurs who dedicate all their energies and invest all their money in their own company, to end up quite often with an income which is far more modest than what they could safely and comfortably have gained elsewhere.
So, I think it's quite evident that my thought is not so strange, weird or crazy after all. But let's take a step back to our recent past and define the concept of music globalization. We are all used to listen to American songs, to English songs, to Spanish songs, to German songs, or to songs in any language. The pros of this fact are the personal enrichment to our own culture and to the other people's culture, seen in the anthropological meaning as a daily balance, as the language of our biological time, as the days which are spent all in the same way and yet all different one from the other. Another pro is the widening of the horizons, the contamination of the germs, the removal of those barriers between a cultured person and an extra over-cultured one, between light and serious, between pop and classical. The cons are the loss of cultural identity, the phenomenon of standardization which is a damage to each one of us, the various different cultures that merge into a single mix, a single one, and often impersonal mix. Too often we listen to Italian, French, or Swedish, or German songs which are so terribly similar to other Anglo-Americans one. I read an interesting study by a guy called Francesco Podestà about globalization, which I embrace as a rule. He distinguished between passive and active globalization. Passive is what comes out, for example, increasing division into genres, subgenres, and microgenres of music, commercial alternative, classical, easy listening, pop, rock, and so on. It tends to become a mental limit we might not be aware of as it happens in our life, where we are used to think in terms of right, wrong, left, right, black, worldwide. Globalization is seen as a threat to our personal individuality. In this case, we are moving towards a confusing musical listening experience. Active globalization is the result of an experience of curiosity. A simple and basic need for musical knowledge leads towards research and learning. We make a voluntary effort and tend to extend our musical culture. The globalization is lived as an expansion of our own individuality. In this case, we're moving towards a music experience awareness. These two opposite forces that lead us to passive or active globalization have a huge influence not only on what we listen, but also on how, where, when, and why we listen to music. Of course, we're not always affected by the same force. But while the first one is automatic, the second one requires an effort on our part. So it's up to us to side with one or the other. And to do it one way or another is what creates the different idea of a company of people, of a business company, of groups of individuals who work today in the music business and entertainment. And of the artist and the audience, which is also a primary active element rather than a passive one, and which has wider opportunities nowadays since the British computer scientist Tim Berners invented the internet together with Robert Kallio. Just a second. Globalization also allows some extraordinary opportunities. I mentioned briefly two among the many. Music crowdfunding. The case of Amanda Palmer. Amanda Palmer used to sing with New York Dresden Dolls. Actually, I promote them, they were great. Signed by Roadrunner label, part of Warner Music Group. Now she's unsigned and managed her career by herself. Recently, she launched a subscription via Kickstarter platform. Funny enough, I found that there is an ad about Kickstarter on the guide of the conference. I didn't know that. Asking her fan base to finance her oncoming music project with a minimum subscription of $5 that includes a free digital download of a deluxe version of the album. Her goal was a budget of $100,000. She reached $1 million, offered by 20,474 subscribers, 10 times more than what she expected. She said the total budget will support not only the recording of the album, but also a benefit project that her investor may like. Another interesting contemporary experience is the case of the Sublime Frequencies record label from Seattle, a label founded by Alan Bishop that started publishing recorded documents of street musicians and radio stations of far-off lands like Sumatra or Bali. Most recorded many years before, the label was even a thought. By the way, I suggest a fantastic book by Bela Bartok, Notes of Popular Music. It clearly explains how it started the world music and the attention to it. I read it many years ago. It's a fantastic book. And also listen to Bela Bartok, it's amazing. Anyway. So proper world music, quite different from the polished version you usually find near the register of the copy shop. Then Sublime Frequencies in 2007 published the domestic tracks of a Syrian musician, Omar Suleiman, probably I pronounced it wrong. Then the album from a Saharan guitar band called Groupe Douai, that is contemporary active touring artist, expanding the label focus from archival to contemporary music, but always with the same focus to deliver not just sounds or world music, but experiences. And experience is really the right key, is the word for our personality, for our work. Of the word in music, of a word in music. Bishop said the aesthetic of the label is actually unexisting. No word, ethnic, alternative, no label music. Again, let's listen to Alan Bishop's words.
Many people ask us what our aesthetic is, but the answer is always the same. We know it when we hear it. We educate naturally people who are willing to listen, but as a label, this is an unconscious focus. Sure, we have specifics that we gravitate towards. 1960s music, raw, expressive and unfiltered sound. A focus of North Africa, the Middle East and the Southeast Asia. We have so many interests. I have my recorder wherever I go, and I'm always looking and listening for something to capture in sound. Almost all of my favorite moments come from random encounters that I would have never predicted. Persistence and patience are essential to these processes.
We should not be afraid of globalization. We should carry on with professionalism, creativity, courage, efficiency. This seems to me, and likely to many other players in the world, the recipe to apply positively and actively those processes of change within the society we live in. Processes which obviously don't involve only our much beloved entertainment family, but also society as a whole, our present, our future, and especially the future generation. How it is possible to compete in our live entertainment business with giants such as Live Nation, Universal, Viacom, AEG, and to ride the opportunities of globalization. There are relation and trade between independent people around the world who might have different sensitivities, but who share a unique individual and common desire to express themselves through their work, their identity, their ability to produce and promote new models, which may have their own dimension and their own economic, social, and ecological support. It's a new renaissance for the entertainment, concert and festival business, which has a global, wider attention at 360 degrees, focusing on the quality, diversity, and richness of the offer. No power concentration into the hands of a few shall prevent us from continuing to express ourselves, and in such a fragmented society, so insecure and uncertain about the social model to follow and to look up to, there are paradoxically more offers and possibilities. Today, there are many more openings and less cultural homologation than, for example, to know and understand the various niche, as well as the ability to expand and highlight them. We can make it.